Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Madam Chair. Thank you for holding this subcommittee hearing and for providing for the witness testimony. Thank all of you for testifying today. I'm a little unusual. I'm one of 8 kids. When I was burned at 15, decided to become a doctor. And so I left home at 16. I actually enrolled in San Antonio Junior College, as it was called at that time. Then was able to get a degree in nursing, a master's in education, and ultimately a medical degree. I fully support what you said about community colleges and the pathway for education, especially for minority, for women, for underrepresented groups, for low income, but actually for any student who wishes to go on to college, especially if they're concerned and aren't quite sure what they want to major in or what will be a successful career path for them. Having said that, I was able to work, go to school, and have a combination of loans. And so my question for Dr. Burke is that there appears to be a dramatic rise in the number of loans borrowed for graduate level programs. And often these graduate level programs lead to high paying jobs. And I'm concerned about the combination of unlimited federal lending and unlimited loan forgiveness for these individuals who may ultimately result in a higher income career pathway. So can you briefly explain if you're concerned about this and what can Congress do to create a responsible lending program, and how can these reforms lead to lower college cost for students?
Great. Thank you, Representative Miller-Meeks. Appreciate that. It's a major concern, I think, for many of us. The proposals that are out there right now to forgive student loan debt anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 in student loan debt, depending on what proposal you look at, are incredibly regressive in nature. They would really shift the burden of paying for college away from those individuals who do, in fact, directly benefit from their education onto, as I mentioned, the 2/3 of Americans who don't have bachelor's degrees and would presumably not earn as much down the road on average as their college going counterparts. And you also bring up a really important point, which is the point about professional degrees and borrowing. We know that individuals who pursue professional degrees in particular, on average, do quite well. Doctors, lawyers. And so the idea that we would forgive those student loans among those individuals who, statistically speaking, are likely to earn a decent living moving forward, really, as I said earlier, is regressive. And so I think, to get back to my earlier point, if we want to drive down costs, we need to tackle the PLUS loan program. The private lending market will meet the needs of students who are pursuing professional degrees, knowing full well that their ability to repay those loans will be very high in the future.
Thank you for that. In Iowa, we have concurrent enrollment for high school and for community colleges as pathways to success. We also have the Iowa Student Loan Program, and you had mentioned about private lending and federal lending. We're very concerned. They do a great job of mentoring students, advising them, looking at if they're a certain educational pathway, how that will result in income and ability to pay back loans. And I'm concerned about doing away with an institution such as the Iowa Student Loan Program, which does a great job of preparing students and also giving financial literacy. So students want to find good jobs after college, and that could mean that leads to a baccalaureate, but it could be a different career pathway. And there is a discrepancy between what students feel like they know what employers say about their job readiness. And I just was going to ask if there are some non-traditional education pathways that students should be exploring. Dr. Burke.
Thank you. There certainly are. There are a lot of really innovative non-traditional pathways that are out there. And I think interest is growing in these pathways because we know that employers, as I mentioned earlier, are reporting that students who attend the traditional four-year route aren't often prepared. There was a survey that came out in 2018 from the National Association of Colleges and Employers that found that although almost 80% of students believe they're proficient in oral and written communication, just 42% of employers agreed. And then that survey was followed up by a subsequent survey from the Association of American Colleges and Universities that found that similarly, while 62% of students felt they were competent in these skills, just 28% of employers agreed. So this gap in skills, as was alluded to earlier, does have negative economic impacts. It's left more than 6 million jobs empty across the country. So I think all of that calls into question the value add for a lot of institutions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back my time.